My name's Scott Setniker. We farm in Independence, Oregon, the Willamette Valley. We farm a variety of different types of grass seed, tall fescue, turf type tall fescue, forage type tall fescue, annual ryegrass, and perennial ryegrass. Our acreage varies from year to year, but anywhere from 4 to 6,000 acres of grass seed is where we generally are operating at. As well as grass seed, we grow a lot of peppermint as well. So like this year we had around 1,700 acres of peppermint in our rotation as well. So we use the Hillco head for peppermint as well as grass seed. And then we run some vegetable seed crops like kale and Swiss chard and spinach. And we've also used the Hillco head for all three of those crops. So not large acreages, but it works really, really well in a variety of different things. So this is the first Hillco product we ran, as a header on the windrower. It's worked really, really well. I mean, it's been one of those machines that the throughput is amazing, and the amount you can get done in such a short period of time has been, really important. We are looking to be as efficient as possible and get as much, with grass seed, it's really important to get your harvest timing right. And the acreage we had, we didn't have quite enough equipment to cover it all quick enough. And so we needed to, when we got the Hillcos, we were adding more machines to our fleet. And now we're kind of looking to probably get rid of some of our older machines, but basically give us enough firepower that when the grass is at the optimum time to cut, we have the ability to cut it really rapidly. And so, and also, instead of running a 12 to 15 hour shift where the optimum cutting time is probably 6 of those hours, now we're able to kind of go out there and only cut the crop at the very optimum time when the moisture's proper and there's the right amount of dew on the crop that you're not losing any of your seed shatter. So, and the Hillco gives us that ability to have the speed to get out there and get it done when it needs to be done. Well, we still currently run New Holland and Case rotary windrowers, and they're not a bad product. But when we run into really, really heavy crop material, the windrow that they leave is just not as smooth. It's kind of like a lumpier windrow. It gets through the windrower fine, but when we go to combine, we have trouble with wet spots in the row, and then it kind of tracks all the way through to our balings, our straw baling after combining. If the windrow is not really consistent and even, we end up with kind of little wet spots in the row and doesn't dry and cure quite as well. Whereas the Hillco can handle thin crop and really heavy crop and do a good job in pretty much all conditions. And it's just it makes the entire harvest system run smoother if you do a really good job of cutting it. And the other machines we had didn't do a terrible job, but the Hillco definitely does a better job, which is kind of just make the whole system work better. And we're with our Hillcos, we're gaining like basically 5 acres an hour more per machine. So whereas we would run 4 New Hollands, we're running 3 Hillcos generally. So so we're getting more efficiency, per employee as well. So, and that's a huge deal. And we're burning a fair bit less fuel per acre too. So it's generally the Hillco makes a lot smoother windrow. So the New Hollands have an auger inside of them. So it has a tendency to clump it up a little bit more. Whereas the Hillcos there's no auger. Everything just kind of uses the airflow system and it just lays it all over really, really smooth and consistent. And so, just and it's gentler on the seed too. So whereas if we do get into conditions where the crop is a little bit drier, the Hillco has a tendency to do a fair bit better job than what we had before. So, and that's important as well. So maintenance wise is also really nice. I mean, it's really not when we've gone from compared to like our old sickle machines, we have way less maintenance at the end of the day. So when we are done for the shift, we can have the machines ready to go for the next day. And, probably a half an hour per machine is all it takes to really feel them, put knives on and grease them. And so it really speeds up getting our crew home at the end of the shift. So we're not putting in quite as many hours, which is important as well. So cleaning between crops I'd say it's similar to our other machines. I mean, it is pretty easy, but it still takes time. You still have some spots that, you got to take apart and clean out. But yeah, cleaning between crops is not bad. Durability, overall, we've had good luck. We've had some downtime. I mean, overall, we've been pretty happy. So a lot of the problems we've had have not been with necessarily Hillco stuff. We've had some cutter bar problems, and the Hillco team has been awesome at keeping us going. So when we have had problems, we've had guys out quickly to help us get them fixed and going again. So we have some of the very first machines too. So we have a fair bit of hours on ours, and we actually run one of the prototype machines still that was one of the original ones. So I don't even know. They work really good. I mean, honestly, I think I'm 41, so I ran windrows for, I don't know, 25 years or more. When I started, we had cabs on our windrowers, but they were pretty small sickle machines. And the Hillco machine that we run now I'd say can do the work of at least 5 of what we used to have with one machine. So it's like the biggest improvement in agricultural technology in my career is the Hillco. So when I get in and drive it, I just have a big smile on my face. So they're pretty impressive machine. And I think all of them, and my dad's the same way. My dad runs one a lot too. And he just, there's not a lot of improvements I'd make. I mean, probably the biggest would just be, making sure stuff's robust enough to hold up over a lot of hours and rough fields and everything else. Cause we're traveling at a pretty high rate of speed most of the time. And we use them in the mint. And I mean, a lot of the guys in the Willamette Valley that grow mint are using the Hillco. And we've been really, really impressed with it in the mint. We love it in the mint. The airflow really works to kind of create a suction and actually kind of lifts some of the leaves off would generally fall on the ground. It gets them sucked up into the windrow. And we've been extremely happy with it in the mint, how well a job they do. And same thing there. Like it used to be, we'd run a crew of 3 people to do our windrowing. We wouldn't always run them, but now basically one guy can go out in the afternoon, cut enough down for the next day's harvest that it's taken a load off. We have to have less people in our harvest crew because it's just kind of cut down the amount of time it takes us to cut the material down. We basically, on the mint harvest, we're cutting a few days ahead of what we're chopping with our forage harvesters. And so it's just we'll go out and cut like a few hundred acres per day. And it doesn't take very long to get out there and knock it down and be ready for the next day's material. So this year I had a field of, what was it? Oh, Swiss chard. So I had a field of Swiss chard, which is like sugar beet seed. It's kind of a Swiss chard first. So I sell it to a vegetable seed company. It goes to California. They make lettuce, chard out of it, the end product. But anyway, so I cut my whole field with a Hillco, and my field man came out and was like, "Did you cut that with a rotary?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said he didn't really see any seed on the ground, and he thought I used a draper header on it. So he was surprised how good a job it did, which I knew it would do a good job because we've used them in the past. But he was told you can't use a rotary in that crop, and it did a great job. So, and we've been really impressed using it in brassica seeds like canola, or we grow a lot of vegetable seeds that are similar to canola. And you can have crop that's like 6 feet tall, and that head will just mow through it, and it doesn't ball up. Like we had a scenario a few years ago where we had a field of I think it was kale that was really tall, really thick, and we were trying to cut it with our MacDon draper with a side cutter, and the side cutter wouldn't get through it. It was just balling up, and we couldn't. It was just making a mess. And so this was the first year we ran the Hillco, and we brought the Hillco in and cut the whole field in like short time, and it did a beautiful job. So, and I think we did trial on that, and the yield was basically exactly the same. So it was, yeah. So, but yeah, we've been extremely happy. And as we purchase new machines in the future, I'm sure we'll switch our whole fleet over. They're an amazing machine, and it's cool to drive one. I think it's an experience to drive one. Like a lot of farmers, I don't think really understand how well they work till you actually get one in the field and cut grass at that speed, and then run the combine and see, yeah, the seed's actually still there. So I mean, if you were in like perennial ryegrass that was hard cutting, yeah, you might be going 2.5, 3 miles an hour. And now we're probably going 12 miles per hour. I mean, not always, but in tall fescue, a lot of times we're going 14. The fastest we will cut is full speed first gear, which is like 15, which we'll do that a lot of the time, 14 to 15, if the field's smooth enough to go that fast. And yeah, no, I mean, we had some fields this year that got a little bit dry because we had really hot weather at harvest, and I was concerned that, man, I think I let it get too dry, and we swapped it at night. We didn't really have any dew moisture, and when we ran the combine, it was one of our best fields. So obviously, the Hillco did a good job of getting the seed in the row. So